Hello and welcome to our Facebook Live today. My name's Jenny McCormack and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm based in the market town of Brackley in Northamptonshire in the UK. Thank you for joining us today. It's just after 10 on Wednesday the 7th of September. If you're watching us live, I do hope you are keeping well, and if you're in the UK or Europe, you had a good evening, and also if you're elsewhere in the world, that you've had a good day or you're in an early start to the day. Yesterday I was doing some more cards with the Apple Harvest stamp set, and I introduced the Apple Blossoms dies to cut out this element for this card here. Today I'm going to do some more work with the dies to create a different card altogether. And what I want to show you is how hopefully you can make some of your die cuts look a little bit more realistic. So in the set of Apple Blossom dies, there are 4 flower detail dies and a whole stack of different leaves. I think there's 9 altogether. I can see 8 there. Hopefully I haven't lost one already. And obviously you can use these to cut straight out of your card. Hi Kerry, hi Fran. Good morning to you both. So if I take the leaf and the flower here, if I hold it up to the screen, hopefully you can see that detail. So these don't match the stamps. There are some outline images that cut out the flowers from the stamps, but these are separate and in addition to. And normally what I would recommend is you cut those out of some coloured card. But what you can do is get a different look by colouring some paper first and then die cutting. And this is what I've done here. So I have got some petal pink flowers here and some leaves with a little pear pizzazz. And what I like to do, and it's always worth giving a go to get a different look for your cards, is taking a piece of card. Now I normally use watercolour card, or I've got shimmery white card here, and taking an aqua painter or a paintbrush would do, wetting the surface, and then let me show you on this one that might be a little bit easier. Let me grab my petal pink ink pad, but you could do it obviously with any colour. So what I like to do is look obviously at the shape of the die, take an aqua painter here and just wet the surface, take a small block and dip it into your ink pad, and then take some of that colour and apply it onto the area that you've dampened already. So I can go over these ones, and you could do the whole thing, just do a wash over it, but what I like to do is just sort of highlight some areas and then pop, once it's dry, put my dies onto those areas like so and die cut them out. Hi Glenda. So I've done that with the petal pink. Let me just dry that off before I allow it to go anywhere. And I've done it with pear pizzazz in this case, and I've cut out a whole bunch of leaves and some flowers, and that's what I've got here. So I've got some flowers here, and I just think it gives a really nice effect. Once you've got these cut out, you can add more detail if you wanted to. Make sure I don't lose those dies. So you could go back in, for example, if these are petal pink, you could go back in with a different colour and highlight the centres. Now these dies also have little centre pieces that you can cut out, but I'm just going to use them like that because I'm going to put embellishments on mine. And then these are the leaves, and I like the fact you get a sort of variegated look. Obviously where you've got different elements where you've added more ink or less ink, you've got a little bit of white spots. Let me just lift that up to the screen so that you can see a couple of those a little bit better. So I appreciate they're quite a long way away. There. So I lift those up. Hopefully you can see that. Hi Jeanette, good morning to you. Hi Brenda. Oh Carol, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you feel better soon. And hi to you Catherine. So just take a piece of, I mean you can use normal paper. I would recommend watercolour. You could do the same thing with blends pens, of course. So you could just take a blends pen, you could do it with watercolour pencils, you could do it to an extent with Stampin' Up markers. But if I wanted, for example, a pale papaya, you could just literally do some scribbling even, not scribbling, with your blends pens. You could add a sort of central bit here if you wanted to, and then pop your die on here and here and die cut them out. So do give it a go, let me know how you get on. I think it's more natural than just cutting out of a single colour of card. And obviously what you can do is combine that. So you could start with, instead of using white, you could start with a coloured card. So for example, you could start with petal pink, and then you could add some melon mambo or some polished pink in places so that you've got a different look. So do have an experiment with that. Let me know how you get on. So for today's card, I've got lots of leaves, some blossoms. I would recommend that if you've done this technique, you just allow this to dry slightly, or you know, as much as you can before you die cut it. Okay, because die cutting doesn't like to go through wet card or paper. I've also cut out some of the stalk. So this is one that I did just using the same technique with a little bit of crumb cake. And then this is just plain crumb cake. Obviously this is very light because it's watercoloured down, but it just shows you the difference between something that's had a little bit of texture added to it and the plain card. So I hope you like it, and I do hope you'll give that a go. Right, so let's make a card. So I have got here, which came from our recent class in a box, I have a spare one of these, which is the brick and mortar embossing folder that I'm going to use for my background. I could actually, think about it, rather than have a white wall, I could use some crumb cake, but as this piece is here, I'm going to use it up. And I've also die cut that label that comes in that same apple blossom set, because that matches the long thin stamp. If I can find my stamp set underneath here. I moved everything last night because I was working on my next month's class. I'm hoping I can find my apple blossom stamp set in a second. Okay, so all I'm going to do is add this. Now I'm not quite sure if I'm going to have these coming down. I'm just going to have a little play, and then all I want to do is add these flowers in various places and our leaves. Just think, that's so delicate and pretty, with not much effort either. The dies are doing all the work, like so. So I think I'll have them coming down and then a sentiment across the bottom like that. So I think what I'm going to do is add, I think I will use this one. I'm going to pop my stalks on first, then my leaves, and then pop on my flowers on top. So let's just grab some glue. Let's find a little bit card here to put some onto if I need it, and I'm just going to put a few dots of glue. You could use our fine tip glue for this if you find you're a little bit too heavy handed, or pop some on a scrap of card and then just dip your piece into it. Okay, I'll do that. So let's have one here, like so, and one there. I'll take that off the end. I want it just starting in the middle of nowhere, like so. And let's use the other one that sits there. The thing I'm going to do is trim this little piece off here. So it's always worth looking at your dies and trying to, perhaps I'll put one up here. Yeah, trying to do something different with them if you can. So don't always use the whole die, use just a part of it, or look at it in a different way. Pop that on there, across the top. Okay, just going to add a little bit onto there. And wherever possible, you don't want your fingers to get too sticky. Okay, so there's my background branches. Hopefully you can see those okay. It looks really dark on my screen, but hopefully it's bright enough for you to see. Okay, so if you are watching live and I haven't acknowledged you, I do apologise. It may be that you haven't said hi, or I can't see your name on the list. Sometimes it brings them up, sometimes it doesn't. So do say hi if you're watching, if you want to. Oh, for the leaves I use Pear Pizzazz. So I just took a piece of shimmer white paper and some ink and water painter and just covered it with some strips of green, and I wanted a little bit of area broken up, and this was what I used for the flowers, which is petal pink. And then I just die cut them all. Obviously I left a fair bit of space between. You could be a little bit more frugal and do them a little bit closer up. So I think what I'm going to do is just pop some leaves on and then add my flowers on top. And you've got different sizes of leaves, so thinking about it, you want the larger leaves at the top and going smaller. So I'm going to put a little bit more glue on my little scrap here and use that to apply on the back. So I haven't really looked at what apple blossom looks like. I mean, this could be cherry blossom. So I'm just putting those on the edges. The bigger leaves at the back, and then just going to mount the flowers on top. So nice and easy. And I like the fact that you get so many dies. You get 9, pretty sure I counted up, you get 9 leaves. So that's plenty to cut out at the same time. Normally you might get 2 or 3. Go. And obviously you could pop some of these up on dimensionals as well. I think with the flowers I will do that, add some with dimensionals to give them a little bit of height, like so. So the bigger leaves at the top, working down to the smaller ones. Ooh, got a little bit of glue on my fingers, which you can tell. So that's coming together. Oops. Nicely. Let's pop a couple up here on the top. I do it with my pokey tool, but my very well used bone folder will do the job. More fingers and thumbs today, and I've got slightly sticky fingers. Morning, Tracy. I hope you're keeping well. I haven't forgotten that I need to do something with you. And I think actually the stalks and the leaves will make a lovely card just in their own right, especially for maybe a sympathy card or something. I think that would be really pretty. So just adding these in. So if anybody didn't catch the beginning, this is from the Apple Blossom dies die set that's available to match the stamp set Apple Harvest, or you can buy the dies on their own. Just think the leaf detail is lovely. So because it's going onto the brick embossing folder underneath, this is quite uneven, so you do need to just add a little bit more pressure perhaps than you would if you're putting it onto a flat piece of card. Okay, let's add a couple of sort of leaves together, and then we'll add our flowers. Add that one there. So we've got a nice bright morning today. I don't think we had any extra rain last night, but I might be wrong. Okay, I'm going to leave a few leaves in case I've got any gaps that I want to fill up. And now I'm going to add our flowers, and so you can do a little bit of work with the petals. You can sort of bend them round. Just be careful because they're quite delicate. Obviously they've got a narrow piece between the stalks, between the petals I should say, like so. So you can have a little bit of fun decorating these up. Oh, bless. Yes, there were very localised showers yesterday, Catherine, because we had nothing here, and yet down the road they had horrific showers. It's a nice day for Jeanette in Bicester, so that's good. Okay, so I've got large and small. So I'm going to put the large ones on first. And I'm just using this bone folder to bend the petals and break the fibre slightly. And I think could probably double these up as well. So let's see what that looks like. And obviously you can go back in, so if you've got an area here that you don't like, you could go back in with your water painter and just add a little bit of colour, or you could dip it into the ink pad. Entirely up to you. Let's see what this looks like doubled up. There we go. It's quite pretty. So I was going to put these up on dimensionals, but I think I'm going to keep them flat because they sort of have their own dimension anyway. There we go. So these dies are available throughout the month of September, but that is all, or until they sell out. So if they sell out before the end of September. There we go. And there's 5 different sets of dies. I've ordered another set which are due any day now. Oh, actually I think they're due Friday. And that's the little piggy dies that goes with the stamp set called This Little Piggy. No, Birthday Piggy it's called. So I'll probably show those next week. Okay. So I want to put the larger flowers towards the top because it feels naturally like that's how they would be in real life. I think I'm going to put one there. I know real cherry blossom or apple blossom is is completely stacked over, isn't it? There we go. And then I've got another little one here. Pop up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can just have a little bit of fun. Let me lift that up so you can see it, hopefully. And then I've got some leaves, and I've got another one here. Which I could put between those. Just going to have a look and see what it looks like. Thank you, Kerry. I'll have this up on the top. And I'll pop those spare leaves on, might as well. You could obviously also put them on the inside of the envelope. Oh, I know what I might do. I could add this down here. But now I feel like I've got a gap up here. So I will cut out another one. The smaller one I think would be best down there. Okay, so let me find the stamp set. I've got some pearls that I could use, or some iridescent rhinestones. Sorry, I'm looking for the stamp set. Oh, I know where it is. I put it ready for coffee and card, that's why. It's in my coffee and card box. Okay, so this one says the greatest gift is a good friend. So I'm going to pop that on there, and I'm going to die cut a few of these smaller ones as well. Let's give this stamping a go. I want a long thin block. And what colour? I think I'm going to do espresso, but I might stamp it off first. Let's have a practice on here. Go. So I'm reading my bag, which is maybe not a good thing. Okay. There we go. So just going to practice on there. Yeah, I think I want it fairly dark because I want you to be able to read it. I don't like the sentence so light that you can't see it. I'm going to do my usual trick of stamping on the reverse, just so I can see how it stamps. And normally if you were doing something this close in, I would recommend stamping and then die cutting, not the other way round. So I've obviously got that at a bit of an angle. I'm hoping I get it right this time, and if not, I'll stamp it and cut it out. Just going to bring it down towards me so I can see it. Oh, I made it worse. Right, let's grab a little bit and re-stamp that. I think I can use this scrap here. little too much ink on one side. And where you've got quite a fine stamp, that can easily happen. Let's try it again. That's better. If you can see the difference, the top of the T here is quite dark on my bottom one, so I just did it slightly lighter using the ink onto the stamp and not the other way around. So I'll die cut that, and I'll die cut a smaller flower and then pop that across the bottom. So give me 1 second while I do that. You have to talk amongst yourselves. Well, I just pop that through. Tear that piece off. Okay. Sorry to keep you waiting with nothing happening on the screen. There we go. So I've got my little flower, my die cut sentiment, like so. So I'm going to layer this up and then add those elements. So I'm going to trim off the edges here, and I'll do that by turning the card over and then using my scissors against that edge, like so. That one there, just the tiniest amount. And I think this probably needs petal pink behind it, and then white. Or I could do crumb cake onto petal pink for a change. So there's not too much white. Yes, just for a change. Lose my leaves. So I'm trimming my crumb cake piece of card down to 10 by 14.35. Thank you, Carol. So this is going to be the layer behind, and then that's going to sit on there. Okay. And obviously if you were doing this, you could die cut all of your branches out of this piece first. So you could get quite a few all the way along here, and then you're not wasting that piece of card. Or you could die cut a rectangle out of that if you prefer. Let's pop these layers down and then just add our sentiment embellishments, and we're good to go. There's that one, and this one. And again, because this is embossed, we've got some lovely embossing folders. you want to make sure you've got a reasonable coating all the way over, and you just give it a little bit extra pressure to make sure it is glued down flat. So, okay, so sentiment I'm going to pop up on dimensionals. Oh, now I know why there was a scrap of that. That's got my apple on the back of it. Not anymore, it hasn't. Okay, let's just use this edge piece. Go along there. And this means I can tuck the leaves behind and the flower on top. So popping that there, and I'm thinking something like, don't actually want to cover up that sentiment, so maybe I'm going to trim it off and pop it on either side. So a little bit of glue on these leaves. Thank you, Jeanette. Have a good day, my darling. Okay, so put one on there. This one here. This one down here. Like so. Thank you, Tracy. So I'm just going to snip this in half so I can just tuck that underneath without losing any of it. Like so. And then these two little ones underneath there. And I'm just wondering what embellishments to add. And I'm not sure that it needs any in particular, but I think it would be a nice touch. So there we go. Hopefully you can see that okay. Let's have a look. I've got some pearls that I think would look quite nice actually, so let's save time and just use the pearls. To my pokey tool, and this has got different sizes, so I can use the large pearls for the large flowers. So you could put them in the centres, you could put them separately, but I'm going to go all out for this one. It's going to have pearls in all of the centres of the large. Like so. So larger one here on the double. That, and then the smaller ones on those smaller flowers. And you can't actually see it, but there are some little dots in the centres of all those flowers as well that come out with the dye. Oh no, one missing. There we go. So let's fold that over. Just score that carefully. And there we are, there's our finished card. I'm hoping that is in your picture frame. Fingers crossed it is. Oh, Catherine says sequins. Yeah, sequins would have worked as well. I was thinking those little iridescent ones that really shine, but I'm quite happy with my little pearls. They fit nicely in the middle, so, and it saves a bit of time me looking it out. So there we go. Thank you so much. Those are the apple blossom dies. There's the codes and everything there. If you buy them with the stamp set, you get 10% off both the stamp set and the dies. But I just think those leaves, the branches and the flowers are fab in their own right. Plus you get this label, plus you get a really pretty scallop edge. So I haven't even used all of the dies. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, morning, afternoon or evening, depending on when and where you're watching from. If you're watching on replay, do put a hashtag replay. If you've got any questions or comments, feel free to pop those on. I will be back tomorrow, Thursday at 7 PM UK time. And I've got another idea for something I haven't done for a little while, using the single apple stamp. So look out for that tomorrow evening. If you're able to join us live, that's perfect. And if not, you'll be able to catch us on replay on YouTube or Facebook. Thank you so much, everyone. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. Thanks for crafting with me today. Bye.